Hello there everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Good Game of Fun. This is me, THP, talking to you guys once again. It's been a while since we last made a commentary video. I've been busy playing through Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. That is the newest Let's Play playthrough that we got going on the channel right now. So if you guys have not seen it, I know I sound like a typical YouTuber shill of like, give this video a like and give me a sub and show me the blah, but honestly, I've been enjoying that series a lot, and a lot of people have been watching it as opposed to, literally all of my other content that no one watches, like Dragon Quest 11. I love making Dragon Quest videos, but no one watches them. And I do other, I upload a whole bunch of anime reactions and stuff. No one watches that, so, yeah. If I'm going to recommend anything to you, is the Senran Kagura stuff that people actually do like to watch. So, yeah, so speaking of which, this is a Senran Kagura video as well, so, you know, don't think you're gonna see my ugly face all day. We're actually gonna go over here to the, Marvelous, well, Xseed/Marvelous website to look at, another localization blog. So, I remember I used to do these from time to time, where I would, actually go and look at some of the, localization, things that have been written by the team, about the process and what it takes to, you know, translate it, the stuff that they look at, changes from one game to the other, especially now when we're talking about a remake, which, by the way, I have been enjoying Senran Kagura Burst Renewal a lot. I have a lot of criticisms about it, but, is it a good game or not? I think it's a really good game, but, there are a lot of things that definitely hold it back, for sure. But we can go ahead and talk about that some other time. Right now, let's focus on the positive, on the awesome, and, what I like is going behind the scenes and actually seeing all of the work that it takes to bring this game over to the West. And so this was actually written by my boy, Ryan Graff, who actually, fun fact, we follow each other on Twitter. Well, actually, he follows me. I usually don't follow a lot of people on Twitter because I get really distracted. Like, most of my time gets wasted on my phone if I follow too many people on Twitter. So, if I know you and I don't follow you, whoever, yeah, don't feel bad. It's literally just me trying to, like, not get distracted and keep working on videos like these. But, Ryan Graff does follow me. He is, and has always been amazing. He has been really kind and awesome to me. Especially, you know, with the whole situation with the censorship and stuff. He has been so graceful and cool-headed and amazing. He has been nothing but kind to everybody and to me as well. So, I appreciate his work, and I appreciate that he appreciates me. And, you know, people, you know, that talk about Senran Kagura on YouTube and stuff. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, he's the man. I love him. And so, he actually writes a lot of these blogs as well, where he talks about the localization. So, we can go ahead and jump straight into it and, read on. I already read this whole thing, previously, but it was, a while back. So, yeah, definitely I'm gonna have to refresh my memory by reading through this again. This video might be a little long, depending on how much I have to say, depending on what I read, but I do want people to see this, because I feel like, you know, reading these things, is important, and it really, you can really see things on the side of the translators and the localizers and see what work, it takes, you know, when they have to, like, go ahead and do stuff, because there are many moments where I or other fans complain about certain things with the localization, and sometimes you gotta read this, and it's like, yeah, we know, you know, like, there are many moments where it's like, oh yeah, it does the same thing that I thought, but they changed it because of this, and that, or, you know, at the time, things made more sense, like, you know, Shiki speaking French and stuff, that was actually like a reference, like a callback to back in the 90s, when older anime used to be translated, and back in the day, you know, people weren't super open to Japanese culture and stuff, so they changed things around. Instead of sushi is burgers, instead of, you know, speaking English, well, they can't say that they speak English because they're already speaking English in the translation, so say that it's French, you know, or Spanish, or just whatever, just to kind of make it a little bit more believable. But now that we have, you know, streaming, and, you know, anime, nerd culture is so much more mainstream and prevalent now, translators nowadays are a lot more open to just saying, oh yeah, they're speaking Japanese, you know that, and they're speaking English, you know, just, they kind of just do away with all that, and just kind of become a little bit more true to the culture, as opposed to kind of Americanizing it. But, you know, a lot of things like that you find, in this text, so I'm gonna go ahead and read right now in relation to Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. So, he starts off by saying, over the course of the Senran Kagura series, all caps, we've seen the characters grow in meaningful ways. So they have become more confident They have gained better respect for both friends and foe, yes, and made progress in working through their troubles. So what's it like going back to the beginning of all that? Yeah. A game that is only about titties and fan service does not start a paragraph like that, you know? I always, again, I hate to come back to what the haters say, right? But whenever I hear people say, oh, fucking, you know, bland, shallow, fucking pedophile game, ugh, it only has tits and nothing else. You know, if it really was, you would never open up a paragraph like this, right? You know, this is only for games that actually have a story and a progression of characters that grow over time. But it says, to answer that, first we need to go back to the development of the original Burst, so like 5 years ago. 2011, I think? Yeah. Well, actually more than that now. We've talked about this a few times before, but the original game was written as a standalone story. Yeah, I did know that already. Where, at the beginning, Burst was just supposed to be its own thing. Not like a thing with like a billion sequels and spin-offs and stuff. It wasn't supposed to be a franchise. You know, they just did it just like its own thing. Because Takaki said, oh, I want to see boobs in 3D, and that was the idea, and they just went with it. And fortunately for them, it caught on, and they made more games. Without any sequels in mind, in terms of backstory and basic world building, Burst is perhaps the most in-depth out of any game in the series. Exactly, because they saw it as just this one-time thing. They didn't say, oh, we didn't explain this, so we'll just leave it for the sequel. No, like, they had to, like, front-load all of the information now, which is why you have the secret documents now, and a whole bunch of different unlockables in the 3DS game. I have it. I have the game right now on me. And I've actually, because I've been playing Burst Renewal a lot, I was actually inspired to play the original Burst on my 3DS just to kind of remind myself of how the game used to look like, how it used to play, and all of the unlockables, because, you know, it's very unique in how it delivers, you know, costumes and customization options, and of course, intimacy mode and all those things, and it's really cool to kind of compare and contrast, and let's see, the most in-depth, yeah, it really is in-depth. They show you a lot of stuff. What was I gonna say? I was gonna talk about the, my time playing this game, because for the longest time, I've been saying that I've been playing Senran Kagura, Burst, the original one, for about 64 hours. That's always, like, kind of like the default time that I give every single time somebody asks me how long I've been playing. And that's completely not true at all. It's actually more. I actually have played this game a lot more. I'm looking at my 3DS game right now, and it says 80 hours. Hold on, if I go to my library real quick, I know, sorry. I know that I'm kind of holding up the video here, but I just want to show you guys, you know, for how long I've actually been playing this damn thing. Yeah, 80 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, there we go. 80 and a half. 100% missions, and I haven't even beaten the whole game. Like all of the achievement, like the titles, the pictures and all that. This is the Hanzo story right now, where I have all of the characters maxed out, all of their yin and yang meters are completely maxed out. But on the Hebijo side, everybody is still like fucking level 25 and shit. So I still have to beat like 100% beat the game on the Hebijo side. Oh no, wait, no, this is the Hebijo side. I'm talking about the Hanzo side. I have it all maxed out. The Hebijo side I still have to complete. So, I've been playing the game for 80 hours, and I'm still not done playing it. You know, there's still a lot to really look at. And, Burst Renewal is a little bit more streamlined from that, but, yeah, it still has that sense of, like, all of the lore and everything is kind of compact, and now that you have all the sequels, and you have the Yumi story and the Miyabi story, there's even more to look into, so, yeah. We need to go back, blah, blah, yeah, so... In terms of backstory and world building, is the most in-depth out of all of them. In terms of the character's arc, is a bit out of sync with the later games. Yes. I noticed that. At one point, for example, Yagyu tells Hibari that she's perfectly capable and just needs more confidence, while other games, particularly in the earliest years, have Yagyu doubting Hibari's capabilities until circumstances for Hibari to prove herself. Yeah, there are a little bit of inconsistencies there, but not because they suck at translating, Exceed, I mean, is because they weren't counting on making sequels later. And so they kind of changed stuff as they went on, as opposed to, you know, kind of planning everything out in advance, because there was no plan. At least not at the beginning. Burst is also a bit out of sync in terms of the characters' voices. Over the course of the series, the characters have developed particular quirks, some of which have their roots in Burst, others not so much. Yeah, that's kind of natural. As you keep making sequels and the characters keep growing and they become different, the voice actresses that play the characters also grow along with them. It's usually not that out of the ordinary to have them develop certain things that make them more distinctive. For example, a lot of the voices, and again, these are like the voices from like 5 years ago, all of the girls sound a lot more higher pitched and just a little bit different because this is their very first time actually playing the role of these characters, and they don't really get comfortable with it until Deep Crimson, Shinobi Versus, and all of these. And their voices sound more to what you know them now, right? As opposed to the a little bit more higher pitched voices that you hear in Burst and on the 3DS version. Now, on both 3DS and PS4, they're both the same recordings, but just the PS4 ones are remastered. That usually happens again because there's like compression with the audio, so sometimes that in itself sounds different. Another one is that this is 5 years ago. You know, this is the voice actresses, you know, back when they were younger, so their voices sound a little different. When you grow older, your voice gets a little deeper for some people. Your voice does change, so yeah, there are definitely some differences. And people, you know, again, develop chorus and whatnot. I find it really funny because actually, I was reading a review. I think DualShockers had, I don't know if it's DualShockers, I don't remember, but there was one review from a guy that is actually into Senran Kagura, and he wrote a review of Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. And I find it really funny because the guy was talking about the voice acting, and he was saying like, oh yeah, the voice actresses are so, you know, comfortable with the roles. After many years of voice acting the characters, they reprise their roles again, and they sound great, you know, like, it really sounds like they've known each other for so long, and I'm like, bullshit. It's exactly the same recordings from the first time that they, you know, reprised the characters. They just remastered and, like, made the voices sound better to be PS4 level, and they shoved them into Burst Renewal. It's exactly the same ones. The only ones that are different are obviously the characters that at the time did not exist. So the Gessen characters, the new Heavy Joe characters, Miyabi, Yumi, all of those girls, yes, those are new, because those came after, right? They're just inserting them into this remake of the older game. But all Hanzo, Heavy Joe, those are the voices from back then. So to be like, oh yeah, you know, they're so experienced now. Like, uh-oh. Somebody doesn't know. But, if anything, that's not really a bad thing. That's more of a compliment, right? Like, the voice actresses are so good that it sounds like they've been doing this forever, you know? But at least, that's his perspective. For me, it's like, okay, yes, I recognize these voices from back in the day. From, God knows how long ago. But, yeah, moving on. Over the course of the, developed quirks, the roots and bursts, so there's another, yeah, so chalk part of that up to burst not having been edited in-house, with a smaller staff on hand at the time. In some cases, a series fan going back to Burst may read one line or another and think that doesn't sound like Haruka. Right now we're like, at least in my Let's Play, we're barely on like chapter 2, about to go into chapter 3. So, I haven't personally found anything particularly out of character. And again, because we've gone through all of these games, and then this remake changed some things so that they kind of connect more in relation to the, you know, to the more recent games. You know, that's the thing. It's consistent throughout after Burst. But if you play Burst and then immediately go into Burst Renewal, there are differences, for sure. If you directly compare one with the other, absolutely. But if you just play through all of the recent games as they come out, you're not going to feel that inconsistency, because now the localizers have all of this experience, and now it feels more natural. You know, going into Burst Renewal. You look at a character saying something and it's like, oh yeah, you know, that's Yagi, that's Haruka. But, when you travel back in time to, you know, the original Senran Kagura Burst, you're like, oh wow, yeah. Like, they actually spoke, relatively differently, and they said different things, as opposed to what we're seeing now in the remake, which isn't bad. Like, you know, it's a remake. They're changing things to kind of fit more to the experience that all the localizers have now, right? Stuff that makes more sense to the characters now, as opposed to back then that was just a one-time thing. And again, smaller team and stuff, so there wasn't maybe as love and care and attention as they have it now, because Senran Kagura is way more popular now. It's a franchise now, with a bunch of spin-offs and stuff. In other cases, the original game's translation led to some out-of-sync moments. Yagi, while fighting off Heavy Joe girls to save Hibara, narrates, I kill and kill and kill again. Yes, I remember that Yagi talked about killing, which was uncharacteristic because they're good shinobi, And it kind of goes against what happens in Deep Crimson, where, you know, they have to go and kill Kagura, and everybody's like, no, we don't want to. But Yagyu talked about killing people all over the place. When, yeah, you know, later on, they never talk about it. They don't even dare, you know, kill anybody. So, yeah, that is a little weird. Other than that one line, the series has never directly stated that the girls are actually killing their opponents. Yeah, and a lot of the people in the fan base always talk about killing as if it happens all the time. But no, a lot of it is just kind of beating people up, you know, defeating them and not really killing them. And some lines, particularly in Deep Crimson, that's what I'm saying, dude. We think alike, you and I. Hire me. No, don't hire me. I'm not good at translating shit. Particularly in Deep Crimson, emphasize that they're going out of the way not to at certain points, especially when they're out on this mission to go for Kagura. Where they kind of say, yeah, maybe we should do it, but there's always hesitation there. We revisited that line, checked the original Japanese, and I found that the word translated as kill was more accurately translated as slash. Yeah, so I slash and I slash again. So I fight, you know, I just keep fighting. She doesn't stop fighting. Yagi's a fighter. Is the way that line reads in Burst Renewal. We have not gotten to that part of the story yet, so I can definitely reference this blog post when we get there. In summary, now that we have the whole series in place for additional reference material, yes, we went back to the original script for Burst and gave it a slight polish where the context warranted, and I think that's good. Some people might say, oh, you're changing the original, but putting it within the context that Burst was not supposed to be like the beginning of a franchise. It was just supposed to be like one and done game. We did it, and that's it, and move on to something else. And then, oh wait, turns out this game actually caught on. We're gonna make more sequels. Now we're gonna polish the character's text to where it makes more sense. Like, if you put it in that context, I feel like this is a really great thing. As opposed to, you know, people that might jump to conclusions and be like, oh, you're changing the original. You know, that's not what the original was. Well, yeah. It wasn't, because the circumstances back then were very different. If anybody's wondering, nothing in the script has been watered down. Hold on, I need to turn off the music for this. Nothing in the script has been watered down, says Ryan Graff. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Now that I turned off the music, maybe I should put on another track. Let's see. I have a whole Stream Deck screen full of, you know, I have the Newal picture, but any button that you press is like a Senran Kagura song, so... Yeah! Hikage's theme song from Burst. Alright, we're talking about Burst right now. I had a Bon Appetit song on there, so, yeah, it might be better for me to actually have this. This is more appropriate. Why do I have my Cold Steel screen? There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, and then there's the new text, new material written for Burst Renewal specifically. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming, like, the DLC stories and, like, the dialogue for the DLC characters and stuff is different. You know, Kagura and Naruto didn't exist in Burst, and they're gonna be DLC at some point, so yeah. For free, by the way, that's the best part. For 2 weeks, when the DLC comes out for the Guessing Girls and the new Heavy Joe Girls and Kagura and Naruto and Ryoki, I think Ryoki's gonna be here too. They're gonna be free for about 2 weeks, so go get it, because then they charge you later on, which sucks. I don't think they should do that, but that's Marvelous's choice. That's stuff on the Japanese side of things. But you know, that's how it is. At least it's free for a time. You know, I'll give them that in their defense. The new tech, new material written in Burst Renewal. By exploring the game's full 3D environments, seeking out all of the hidden corners, some of which hide secret, extra tough bosses, and I forgot about that. And that's why I was so surprised when I found one of them for the first time. You can find new top secret files. Yeah, so this is new in the remake. There are dozens of those files, each one giving a peek at a new facet of the Shinobi world. You'll find receipts for the girls' online purchases, classified dossiers, guidelines for the Shinobi higher-ups, ads for training dummies. Yeah, we've already read the one for the training dummy. I like it. It builds up the world so much more. My personal favorite file, and this is a minor spoiler, is a transcript of the interview Ikaruga's adopted father gave on TV. Okay, I don't have that yet, so I'm excited already. The one where he enraged Yomi by saying Japanese poor people were better off than most poor people in the world. Yo, that's why Yomi is so angry at Ikaraga, probably. You can see where he's wrong and why Yomi would be upset, for sure. But you can also see where someone in his position might say that. So all in all, it's a bit nicer character building. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. He's a businessman. He's a man of money, man. Yeah. Poor people are better off than most poor people in the world. Yeah. Have you ever been to fucking San Diego or San Francisco? See the poor people over there? Yeah, there are a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how poor Japanese people live, honestly. I've never been there. But, you know, seeing how the poverty is over here and how a lot of it is kind of swept under the rug, I don't know. Maybe Karaga's dad might have a point. But yeah, Yomi, because she lives in the shitter, she's like, how dare you say that? You, on top of your castle. So maybe that's why Karaga's like, oh, whether you eat foie gras or truffles, I don't know which. Oh, go eat your rich people food. Yeah. Yomi is such a bitch in Burst Renewal. But, you know, she's kind of justified in getting pissed off, because Ikaraga is only one good person out of this, like, whole bunch of rich people that are a bunch of assholes, so, you know. Speaking of new text, what I enjoyed the most about working on Burst Renewal was writing for the 2 new DLC scenarios, yes. So Yumi and Miyabi before they meet Hanzo and the Heibijo girls, so I think this is happening at the same time that the Burst story is happening. But, you know, it's like their own thing. They don't get involved. Yumi's story harkens back to the Guessing Girls' early days as seen in Shinobi Versus, where they were militant paladins. This is the words of a guy who fucking gets it. I love this. Militant paladins is, yes, out to protect the innocent and punish the guilty to the fullest extreme. Yes! Oh my god, you can tell that this guy gets nitty-gritty with the script, because he understands the characters perfectly, and like what they represented before. In her Burst Renewal story, we see Yumi's ideals clash with the nuance and ambiguity of the real world, possibly for the first time, and end up with several insightful discussions on the nature of law and crime as it relates to good and evil. No, only tits, right? This game is only about boobs, and nothing else. Or it could be about an insightful discussion of the nature of law and crime as it relates to good and evil. This guy's a man. Everybody needs to fucking read these blogs. Everybody has to read the localization blogs, because it totally kicks the ass out of anybody that calls it like a fucking like pervert pedo game, because there is a lot of pervy stuff in it, but there's a lot of cool shit to look at too. I haven't even seen the Yumi story, but now I want to look at it if this is what you're gonna give me. Now, Miyabi's story, which covers her drive to succeed at Heibijo and avenge her mother at any cost, is deeply character-driven, and goes to show precisely what at any cost really means for her. I'm assuming that takes place after the Burst story, though, because I remember in Shinobi Versus, Miyabi doesn't wake up out of her vegetative state until she sees, like, the destroyed, torn-down Heibijo buildings, so I'm assuming that that one might actually take place a little bit after, as opposed to Yumi, where it kind of takes place at around the same time. Man, who knows? I'll just have to play and see. I already bought it. $6 for Miyabi and the whole chapter, the whole story. So, I'm down to play it. And, of course, I'm down to, you know, download all the DLC characters when they show up, because they're gonna be free. For series fans, both scenarios also let you play through certain pivotal moments that past games have only hinted at. Hopefully, it is what I think it is. In terms of both substance and production value, they are the 2 most robust DLC items the series has ever had. And it is the 2 DLC items that I personally recommend you guys buy. Because even though, yes, it is Yumi and Miyabi, you know, taken out and resold to you. Even though you've had, you know, Estival Versus and PBS. And, you know, you've had a whole bunch of games where these girls already came for free. But, you know, if they're gonna add in these story-heavy DLC chapters, then okay. Alright. At least we have that, you know? I still wish that the chapters were free. But, I mean, that the chapters were, like, paid DLC, but the characters were free, you know? I don't know why you gotta, like, tie that into the character when... Especially Yumi. Yumi is kind of like the poster girl for Senran Kagura right now. And so to kind of, like, you know, hold her back as DLC... just seems a little weird to me, you know, for the DLC chapters, it makes sense, but I don't know about the characters. But anyway, there's only 2 characters. They could have just had all of them be paid DLC, but no, they're putting them up for free for 2 weeks, so at least we have that. It's been quite a journey to bring Burst Renewal to the finish line. But we're yeah, quite a journey, for real. We're proud to have it done, and we hope everyone else enjoys the new visuals, combat mechanics, exploration, and story material. For more info, check out burstrenewal.com, skburstrenewal.com. And then you have the launch trailer. Alright, there we go. That in a nutshell is Ryan Graff's localization blog on Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. I like it a lot, honestly. I love the insight. I love seeing him talk in depth about, you know, how the text compares to the original 3DS version, the types of changes that were made, and why it doesn't make any sense now as opposed to back then, the circumstances that they were in, and on top of that, you know, going really, you know, heavy on what the DLC chapters actually mean, what stuff, you know, hinting at stuff of like, oh, you know, you get to see all of this stuff, that before it was just like text with a picture in the background, and that was it, you know? But now, you can actually see it happen, and I'm very, very excited to see it. Again, I am a little sad that, the actual new content that we get is DLC, that we have to pay for on top of paying for the base game. But, if they really put a lot of effort into it, and if it really is, like, this awesome thing that, that he's kind of hinting at, then, you know, I already bought it, so whatever, you know, don't listen to me, but, yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot, you know, willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe it is worth the money. I mean, the base game cost like 40 bucks, didn't it? Like, I remember, usually Senran Kagura games, and even like the physical editions, cost like $50. And Burst Renewal costs 40. So, I guess it kind of balances out. If you get the limited edition, the DLC, it kind of equals like $60 around there. But yeah. Probably, I think aside from Bon Appetit, which was $30 in total if you get both DLC packs. This is probably the second cheapest Senran Kagura game out there, and it seemed like they packed in a lot of content and a lot of really positive and good changes, so yeah, I feel like, I do have a lot of problems with their DLC practices. Not Exceed, I mean, Exceed just translates the game, I mean, it's more Marvelous and stuff like that, yeah, I think, in this particular instance, I think it's good to give them the benefit of the doubt. Especially when a lot of the DLC from Festival Versus actually transfers over, to Burst Renewal. If you have the PlayStation 4 version, I don't know if you can do this on Steam. I have not tried it because I don't have Festival Versus on Steam. But if I had it, then I probably want to test that out by downloading some DLC, like a balloon or a hair or whatever, and see if it transfers over. There's a list, actually. In fact, if we can go on there right now. Let's go on Google, actually. Senran Kagura Burst Renewal DLC transfer. Let's see if we can get that. Let's see. Store, server pack. I can't find it. Oh, actually, if I ask it as a question, does Burst, let's see, does Senran Kagura Burst Renewal transfer DLC or something like that? I remember there was like a Marvelous page. DLC out today, blah, 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 renewal in future. I can't find it. Let's see. Let me move on to the other screen. People thinking the current new game, I'm copying Friday. I can't find it. I'm pretty sure it was somewhere around here. I don't know where it was, but there was a list. They had a whole list of all of the DLC that transfers. Festival versus DLC transfers to Burst Renewal. Maybe like that? Nah. Game facts. No. I want like the Marvelous page. Closer look at Miyabi. 12 characters. Fucking Google, man. Google doesn't give me what I want. Okay, well, whatever. Just take my word for it. Ryan Graff himself has actually commented on one of my videos, on one of my Burst Renewal videos. So, like, if you're watching this video now and you can, like, give us a link to, like, the list of all the DLC that transfers over from Festival Versus, you can go ahead and do that. You can tag me on Twitter and I'll put it on here. But, yeah, I love that. I love that they do that. Because for the longest time, I've been saying, Like, there really aren't a lot of Senran Kagura games that actually transfer DLC. I think the last time that happened was, okay, so you had Deep Crimson, where, if you had a save file for Burst, you can actually unlock Murasame for free. And if you didn't have that, you had to pay $5 for it. That was fine. Then you had the DLC pack for Deep Crimson, which were perfect. They should be doing that the whole time, as opposed to microtransactions, but that's just me. From Shinobi Versus to Bon Appetit, if you had the Vita version of Shinobi Versus, and you had DLC for it, it would all of it, including the Daidoji and Rin. If you had those characters as DLC, you could transfer them over to Bon Appetit. That was great as well. You know, you can get, you can use the DLC for both games. And, I remember, yeah, with Estival Versus, moving on to PBS, the DLC there does not transfer. Even though they kind of run on the same engine and it kind of looks the same, and a lot of the same DLC ended up on PBS as well. Unfortunately, it does not transfer. But for Burst Renewal, it does. So if you have Estival Versus DLC on PS4, again, I don't know if this applies on Steam, you can move it over to Burst Renewal. So if you think that the costumes and the stuff for Burst Renewal is pretty thin, well, that's because it is. But if you have Estival Versus stuff, you can transfer it over. Not the characters, just a very select amount of clothing. And that's why I wanted the list, but I can't find it for some reason. But, yeah, if anybody has it, you can, post a link down in the comments. It's gonna be, blocked. It's gonna be, YouTube is gonna detect it as spam. But if you post it, I'll look at it on my end, and I'll allow it for it to show up, and I'll accept it, and it'll be in the comments. So, yeah. But anyway, there you go. That was the localization blog. I thought it was really, really cool. I always love hearing the insights from people that actually make the damn thing. And, you know, for anybody, this is always a good source for, like, dispelling assumptions or jumping to conclusions. Usually, hearing it from the people themselves that make it is usually a good thing to kind of give some perspective. I just realized I had the whole thing out of, yeah, it was supposed to look like that. I ended up, okay, the screen probably looked like shit for the whole video, but whatever. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys gained a lot of new insights out of this, if you guys, you know, enjoy kind of, you know, reading through these things and getting more information on the game and what it takes to kind of localize it. Let me know what you all think in the comments, and of course, if you enjoyed this video, you guys know what to do. Give me that normal like as usual, the notification icon, that bell, ring that bell, and of course, there's so many fucking things that people make you do on YouTube, like, give it a like, do that bell, you know, tie your shoes, get your zipper, suck my dick, and of course, give me all of your money, and comment on the video, and share it out, and share it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, like, there's a whole billion different things that YouTubers tell you to do. I shouldn't have to tell you anything. If you like my shit, and you think that I'm worth sharing, and you think that I'm worth looking at, you guys can figure that shit on your own. I don't have to tell you that. Like and subscribe, by the way. And I'll see you guys next time with some more Senran Kagura videos. We are going full force on Burst Renewal Let's Play. So, if you guys like watching Senran Kagura, and if you guys enjoy me being a complete fucking doofus while playing one of my favorite franchises in video games, then go ahead to the Burst Renewal playlist, and I have a whole bunch of stuff. I got Shinobi Versus, I have Estival Versus, I have PBS, Reflections, both in English and Japanese, and Peach Ball, and right now we got Burst Renewal, and reactions to the anime as well. So literally, anything Senran Kagura, the phone game as well, I got it on this channel. Keep it here on Good Game of Fun. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.